cliff face to help her. She would cling to the clumps of soil, find her footing, and lean her weight into the cliff. She could hear the waves crashing against the rocks somewhere beneath her, relentless and unstoppable. Sometimes they sounded enormous, sometimes pathetic, as if they had no energy for it. Last week's waves had been high, spitting white foam into the air to land back down on the already darkened, wet rocks. She could smell the change in the air, the stench of seaweed and salt. She could taste it on her lips. The sun was firmly in the sky now, pushing aside clouds. It was going to be hot, and Jenny hoped her mother would want to sit outside today. She pictured the curtains shut again, and then tried to push that thought aside like she was the sun. She felt for the next rock, always careful here, as it was the steepest part, checking the rock with her foot, making sure it was safe and secure, before she lowered her foot down. She went to stand and moved her hands too, finding the next place, when a gentle gust seemed to brush past her and her left foot wobbled, her hands shooting out desperately to grasp onto something. She righted herself, sweat breaking out in her hairline as she seized a patch of long grass firmly in her fist, took a breath, surprised that she could hear it in her own ears. Careful, Jenny, she thought of her mother then. Just them now. Careful, Jenny. She made it to the bottom, and a smile stretched across her face as she saw that most of the cove was uncovered. She unbuckled her shoes, took her socks off quickly, and left them on the shelf of rock, feeling the warmth of the stone as she prepared to jump down. Underneath the shelf to the left was a semicircle of rocks, a deep pool carpeted in seaweed, a tempting place for crabs and smaller fish. She peered down to look at it, frowning when she saw something trapped between the rocks in the gully where the sea washed in and out. She jumped down, felt the sand give, and gasped at the sudden shock of cold up to her ankles. There was a strip of sand ahead of her, still wet from the water rolling in and getting sucked back out again. 2 birds flew high above, coming to rest on the ledges of the cliff, with others already nestled in the walls. She felt they had come to watch, and turned her body towards the rock pool. Whatever was trapped was large, bumping up against the walls of the gully in the froth and white of the surf. Jenny stepped towards it, her body in shadow as a rock ahead of her blocked out the sun, plunging the space into a dull grey light. Her eyes had to adjust to the sudden change, and she blinked, freezing for a second, as she thought she saw something impossible. She could feel goosebumps breaking out on her skin now the sun had disappeared, and she hugged herself to warm up. As she neared the rock pool, the sea swept in, nearly reaching her toes and moving through the gully, lifting the object to the surface. The sound she made was drowned out by the water draining away. A leg, she thought. A monster's leg. She stepped backwards quickly, once, twice, falling into the sand on her bottom, the water instantly seeping through the thin cotton of her skirt and underclothes. She scrambled backwards, not wanting to turn her back, but needing to get away. Her hands sank hopelessly, her fingers covered in the grainy sand that stuck to her skin, speckled her legs and arms. The leg again. Not at all the colour of human flesh, but a leg, definitely. Jenny finally managed to stand, wavering on the spot now, wanting to lift herself back up onto the shelf, clamber up to the cliff top, run up the path, through the garden to the back door, and into a warm embrace from Betty, who would smell of cinnamon and cigarettes. She would stay firmly nuzzled into Betty's chest as her breathing calmed, and she was able to tell her the story. They would telephone the policeman from the telephone box on the road by the lookout point. But she would have to be sure of what she had seen. She couldn't very well run all the way back and then make her mother get the police if she wasn't sure. It didn't look like a leg.